Hi everybody, welcome back. I hope you're doing really well. Happy New Year. I hope the start of January is going well for everyone. Just got home from 3 weeks in Thailand. I'm filming this video with a hot water bottle and like 5 layers on. I had so many questions the whole time I was out there. I know it's a topic that a lot of people want to know about if you are thinking of going. So I've written down all the most common questions I got and just like brief answers to them just so I don't miss anything out. I'll start by saying it was my favourite trip I've ever been on. If you're thinking about going to Thailand, 100% you have to at some point in your life, but already looking at going back. First thing that I feel like we need to cover, a lot of people ask, where did you travel to? How did you plan your route? So I actually didn't plan anything. My sister is the most organised person in the whole world. I could not be further from her, so thank God she kind of went through everything, organised everything. She enjoys it, I think, you know, I just let her do it because I think she likes it as well. So me and my boyfriend and her boyfriend, we kind of just followed along. It was like a voucher holiday. We were like, where are we even going? Like, I will not take credit for the planning or the route that we did. I feel like everything worked perfectly because it was my sister planning it. This is the route that we did and it did work really well. So if you want to steal this, feel free. She might ask for commission, but I also had to write this down as well because I've forgotten. We did so many like between flights and stuff, but we started by flying to Bangkok from Heathrow in London. That was about 11 hours on the way out there. I actually didn't find the flight that bad. I was kind of dreading it. At that point, the longest flight I'd done, but actually it was totally fine. I think we were all really excited. 2-ish hours in Bangkok airport, and then we flew straight to Koh Samui, which was about an hour flight. I think all the like internal flights in Thailand are quite short. I think the longest we did was like 2 hours. Started off in Bophut, which is like a small fisherman village. Really nice. I'm gonna leave pictures the whole way through this of just like where we were, certain things, notable things, you know. I made like a few little markers about things because a lot of people ask what were your favourite places, what did you like the most. Bophut has really nice night markets. It's very chilled, quite quiet in the day, and then at night it's like, where does everybody come from? But the night markets are like a massive thing in Bophut. When we were in Bophut, we stayed at the Riviera Hotel, I believe it was called. I'll leave names to everything in the caption. It's quite difficult to find accommodation on these little islands. They're either big resort hotels or they're like really small. It totally served its purpose. It was really good. We were there for 3 nights. Yeah, it was more of like a, kind of felt like an Airbnb. It didn't have like a pool or anything like that. So if you're going with that in mind, probably wouldn't like that, but you are right by the sea. So places I really liked in Bophut, we went to Koh Tao. That's a beach restaurant cafe right on the beachfront. They do a fire show at night as well. That was really cool. I really enjoyed that. It just felt like a very chilled beginning to the trip. I feel like obviously we were a little bit jet lagged the first few days, so it was the perfect place to be. There wasn't like too much going on. We kind of just like acclimatized to it. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed it there. We went to a few of the temples as well, and we moved on to Lamai, which is a little bit more of a busier area in Koh Samui. I think this was maybe my favorite place that we went to on the islands. I just really liked the vibe of it. I could have happily stayed there for like 10 days. There was a lot of families, not such like a young crowd, which I will go on to explain about other places, but really nice like family vibe, felt very chill. There's kind of like a strip, which we were staying just off. Really nice restaurants, good food. We spent New Year there as well on the beach. There was all like fireworks. It was just a really nice vibe and I just really enjoyed it. So New Year's Eve was like one of my favourite days I've ever had. We went to the elephant sanctuary, which is like the sister one of the one in Chiang Mai. The Chiang Mai one is massive. We kind of wanted to do that in Chiang Mai, but we just didn't have time. So we did the Koh Samui one. So they've got 5 rescue elephants there. They're all girl elephants in like their 50s to 60s. I think the oldest one was like 65. Literally just made me want to sob the whole time. It was the most amazing thing I've ever done. You get to just walk around and you see them kind of like walking around and just like chilling out, living their life. It was the best thing. And none of us could stop going on about it. We were like going to sleep and Mal was like, that was the most insane thing ever. And I was just like, I know, and it's actually my background now. Every time I look at that, that just doesn't look real. I'm just like, I definitely recommend doing that. Again, do your research beforehand. Make sure you're going to one that feels good, is ethical. Look at all the reviews, look at what people say. Anything that feels a bit off, just don't go. But yeah, that was incredible. Accommodation there was beautiful. It's like a hotel, but then they have, I think, like 6 huts, and they're like individual little huts, kind of felt like centre parks around the pool. So we had one of them, my sister and her boyfriend had one of them, and it was just really nice. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what we did there. I think we just ate a lot, went on nice walks. Next on the trip we got the ferry to Koh Tao. This was the bit that I was the most stressed about. The entire week leading up to us going, all my TikTok For You page was people throwing up on the boat. A boat actually sunk the week before we went, which was fucking terrifying, but there was a red weather warning. Basically their equivalent of the Met Office over there had actually advised to not travel. So I mean, if we'd got there and the weather had been like that, I would have been, no way am I getting on that fucking boat. By the time we got there, I think the first day that we got to Koh Samui, it was quite windy and you could kind of tell the tail end of the storm was like still lingering. But by the time we went to Koh Tao, which was what I think was like a week later, the sea was like flat as anything. Yeah, there is a lot of scaremongering, I think, in general around things in Thailand. A lot of the questions were like reoccurring things and I was like, I feel like you've all seen that on TikTok because honestly the boat was absolutely fine. The way back was a tiny bit choppier but still absolutely fine. A little tip, I would say do not sit on the bottom floor of the boat. Don't go on the top one. So we went middle deck. Top deck, you're right in the sun, it's windy, you're probably gonna get heat stroke. Sometimes the boats are a little bit delayed, so sometimes you'll be like sitting at the port for a little bit longer. The sun is hot, so I would not recommend sitting up there. Down below you feel all the movement. All the videos I've seen of people being sick are on the bottom level. We got to the port about half an hour, 45 minutes early. Best thing to do because then you can pick your seats. We went straight to the middle deck. It was the best spot to be. You've got like shade, you've got the cover, and you're kind of like above level, so you're not right where the sea's like going like that. Other than that, the boat was completely fine. On the way back, totally fine as well. So Koh Tao was one of those places that everything, again, that I'd seen online, everyone was like 1,000,000 out of 10, this is my favourite place in the world, best island ever, beautiful, like absolutely beautiful, undeniably beautiful, but I don't want to be the one to say it, it feels like Magaluf. I don't know if it was just, it happened to be the day that we'd got there. We got there on a Wednesday, and I don't know if that's like their big night in Koh Tao, but I was having a sensory overload. All four of us were like, are we like 100 years old? What is going on? I think it's the place where most young people go for like partying. It's very cheap, a lot of hostels, loads of young people, and I'm talking like 18 to 21 young. The way I don't even fall in that bracket anymore is like, when did that happen? And I think that was a little bit unexpected for all of us. We were like, oh, I honestly thought Koh Tao was going to be like this really peaceful retreat, and then we got there and it was like pub crawls, matching vests. There was a lot of it going on, but that being said, it is beautiful. The beaches there are stunning. We hired motorbikes and we went around the bays. So if you're really into your party scene, you would love it. It would be like paradise. If you aren't into your party scene, definitely still recommend going because it's so beautiful. The island itself is tiny, so you can travel like around it so easily. Even if you didn't want to hire bikes and you just got a taxi, so easy to do. The taxis are so cheap as well. We went to Shark Bay, Freedom Beach. There's also one called Mango Bay, which is the other end. We didn't get to there, but yeah, if you go a little bit off it, it's really quiet, beautiful. The bays are amazing. The sea is so clear. And yeah, I do also think our saving grace there was the villa that we stayed in. This was definitely my favourite island accommodation that we stayed in. This was an Airbnb, again, that my sister had found. Quite high up, so the steps to get up there were killer, but so worth it. Every time you got to the top, you were just like insane. The sunsets in Koh Tao are like nothing I've ever experienced. Like I was nearly crying one night at the sunset. We had like a little private pool and it was just beautiful. I absolutely loved being there. Definitely do it. There's no islands, there's no places we went that I'd be like, I could have left that out, I wouldn't have done it, because I feel like they all give you very different things. So yeah, that was Koh Tao. I think that's all I needed to cover. We didn't do a great deal in Koh Tao because it's such a small island. It was more like swimming, going around the bays, stuff like that. Sari Beach is stunning. Then we got the boat back to Chaeweng in Koh Samui. We were only there for one night because we had a flight really early the next morning and we would have missed the flight if we'd got the earlier boat. So we got the boat back the day before, stayed in Chaeweng for one night. I think this is where typically a lot of people go in Koh Samui, and I totally understand why. I actually surprisingly really enjoyed Chaeweng. I thought it was really cool. It did, however, feel like you could have really been anywhere. There's like big shopping centres, everything is bigger. Like that's what I noticed straight away. The Bophut, Lamai, Koh Tao, everything's bigger. The buildings are bigger. If you like your sort of resort hotels and you like to be in one place, I think you would love it. Yeah, I don't know that I would have wanted to stay there for a really long time, but it was really nice just for one night. It was more of like a functional stay. Me and my sister went and got our nails done. It was really nice. I feel like we just had like a reset before we went on to the cities. And the next morning we flew to Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai is probably one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It had like a similar vibe to Brighton in a way. Like it felt very chill. There was like cool little indie shops and stuff like that. There was loads of really cool coffee shops, like really strange, but there's loads of what are they called, like kind of like experience coffee shops. So we went to one that like, I think it's called Mars, and it looks like you're on Mars, like, and there were loads like that, really random but really cool. The coffee in Thailand as well, amazing. I feel like I have to add that in. Yeah, Chiang Mai was really cool. I loved our hotel there as well. I can't actually remember the name of that. 9, I think it was called 9. But I'll leave everything anyway because I feel like I'm going to forget bits. We stayed in the old town in Chiang Mai, which is really cool. It's a square, and I think it's 2 kilometers squared, so the actual centre itself is really small. The furthest right of it, there's a really big night market. I think it's called Night Bazaar. That was amazing. Like some of the nicest food that I had while I was out there was there. And then in the day, it's got like a really cool, really chilled vibe. And Mao had like the nicest morning ever in Chiang Mai. We got up, we went to a nice little cafe that had like oatmeal bowls. Then we went to the Lost Bookshop in Chiang Mai, which is amazing. It's like a big vintage bookshop. I got a really nice Japanese art book, which I'm going to use for like tattooing and stuff. And then we found this really cool vintage shop, and I got loads of really nice t-shirts in there. So, and yeah, I feel like the cities were the only areas that we kind of had our regrets, where we were like, we really could have done longer here. I think we did 3 nights in Chiang Mai, and probably could have done a week there because there's just so much there. We did a cooking class one night, which, oh my god, if you go to Chiang Mai, you have to do this cooking class. It was like one of my favourite things I've ever done, and we all enjoyed it so much. Even my boyfriend was like, I enjoyed that so much more than I thought I was going to. So it's called the Zabi Lee Cooking School. They're based in Chiang Mai, and then where you actually do the cooking is just a little bit outside of the centre. So they take you to the markets first, they kind of talk you through all the things you're going to be making, and then you pick your menu. The people who run it as well are so funny, like they're the sweetest people ever. And then you make 4 dishes, you all sit together and you eat it together. There was like an Irish family on our trip, and it was just really cool. It was really fun. Go just outside of the city, there's like beautiful waterfalls, there's a lot of nature. If we'd had longer there, we definitely would have done all that stuff. So yeah, Chiang Mai is definitely one of those that I want to go back to. Then the last leg of the trip, we flew from Chiang Mai to Bangkok. We didn't do Bangkok for very long because we didn't know if we would like it that much. Obviously it made sense, we needed to fly back from Bangkok, so we thought we'll do 3 nights in Bangkok and fly home. If we don't like it, whatever. The hotel was gorgeous, it was our favourite hotel that we stayed in. All of us fell in love with Bangkok. Me and my boyfriend have been looking at like renting an apartment for a month there. I don't know if it's because our expectations were low, but we just fell in love with it. It's one of my favourite places, if not, actually it probably is my favourite place I've ever been. Again, one of those places I think a lot of people just like overhype it. They're like, oh my god, it's crazy, the pollution, it's so dirty, it's disgusting. I think if you live in maybe a really small city, you're not used to being in a city, maybe it would be a little bit overwhelming. For me, it felt nicer than London, like 100% it was nicer than London, purely because it's spread out. I think London is just like this tiny little bubble and everyone's angry, and it's just, of course there's traffic, it's a big city, it kind of just feels like that. We didn't really get taxis very much, especially not in rush hour. Kind of just the same as when I'm in London. I just probably wouldn't get a taxi in London because it's not worth it. I got like their version of the tube, the BTS, a lot. Majority of Bangkok is rooftops because the buildings are so high, so you get these amazing views. The rooftop of our hotel was really nice. It was like a Korean restaurant on the roof. So we ate there on the first night we got there. We stayed at the Sindhorn Midtown Hotel. It's the nicest hotel I've ever stayed in. But yeah, again, Bangkok, so much you can do. It is a massive, massive city. I think coming from the UK, you realise how small of a pond it is. Even when I went to New York, I was like, fuck, this place is huge. There is just so much. The buildings are massive. Vintage shops are incredible. Where are my boots? Wait there. Side note story for you, but the week before I went away to Thailand, I tattooed a girl and she had the most amazing cowboy boots I've ever seen on. I'm trying to get a pair of cowboy boots that I really love for a long time, haven't found any. And I said, oh my god, where are they from? And she said, I'm so sorry, you're gonna hate me. They're from a market in Bangkok. And I said, I'm going next week. Where is it? So the Chatuchak market is a weekend market, but it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday in Bangkok. Opposite that, there is a massive vintage building. I can't remember the name, but I'll put it on here. So annoyingly, we got there like an hour before they were closing because I would go back purely just to walk around the shop all day. You could literally spend hours in there. We were walking around and my sister said, oh my god, look at all those cowboy boots. It was this lovely woman who had like hundreds of pairs of cowboy boots. She asked my shoe size and she got me out all of the ones that were like a size 3 and 4. Thai people are the nicest ever as well. Like, the nicest people in the world. So helpful, so sweet. And look at these. I can't explain to you how perfect these are. They're obviously used, but like they are in the nicest condition. I can't believe my luck when I put those on. They are like everything I've been searching for. The quality is so good and they just fit me perfectly. They honestly feel like they were like made for my feet and my legs. I digress. What was I talking about? Oh, just the shops. The shops are amazing. We were really, really sad to leave Bangkok actually. I really enjoyed it and I will 100% be going back very, very soon. So that was the entire trip. We flew home from Bangkok Saturday midday. So we landed back in Heathrow Saturday evening. The flight home was like 13 hours. Flight home like never doesn't suck. And this was 13 hours long as well. We got back to Heathrow. The road was shut. We couldn't get home. We paid £245 to get a taxi back to Brighton. I just thought, take me back to fucking Bangkok. Honestly, turn the plane around. I'm going back. I've had enough. Like reality really just hit and it was freezing fucking cold when we landed as well. So it was a lovely little welcome home. Yeah, that was the full itinerary of the trip. Very beautifully planned by my sister. Leading on to the next question, I feel like this kind of goes well together. A lot of people asked about budget and cost. How much money do you really need to take? How much can you do it on? The flights are the most expensive thing. We could have booked ours way earlier, but we were still trying to like finalise dates. My boyfriend was in Australia when we were booking the flights, so we were kind of just trying to figure out like when would be a good time to go that worked for everyone. We settled on going on Boxing Day, so it worked really well for everybody. Okay, so I did mine and my boyfriend's flights. For 2 people return, it was £2,863, which, yeah, heavy for sure. Looked the other day to go at the same time, and you can at the moment get 2 flights for £1,400. So it definitely depends when you book them. Just try and book them as early as possible, basically. But that was the most expensive thing by far. So you can do it way cheaper than we did it as well. Like, we stayed in like nice hotels. We ate really good food. We did all the excursions we wanted to do. We kind of were like, well, we're here once. We will definitely be going again, but at that time we're like, oh, we're here now, we want to do everything, we don't want to like scrimp on anything or feel like we should have done more. So just for some like context, our hotel in Bangkok was £100 a night. That was like the most expensive accommodation by far. The whole time my brain just could not comprehend that was £100 a night. If you look on booking.com for what you'll get in London for £100 a night, I've stayed somewhere with a shared bathroom for £100 a night. So the rooms were gorgeous. There's a big like infinity pool all around the building. The breakfast was insane. A lot of other accommodation, I think we worked out it was about £40 a night between like couple, so about 20 quid a night to stay in these hotels. Again, you can do it so much cheaper if you want to. Certain areas you've got a lot of hostels, like I said, Koh Tao, loads of hostels if you want to do that. I think a lot of young people were going out there to work and get their hostel stays in exchange. So if you're into that kind of thing, I'm absolutely not. So yeah, it's one of those places you can do it really, really, really cheap if you want to. Food, just for like a bit of context, one place that we ate in Chiang Mai, this was our like PB cheapest meal, £7 for 4 people. We had 4 khao soi curries, which by the way, if you're ever in the north of Thailand and you don't eat that, literally the nicest meal ever. 4 of those and 4 drinks for £7. And I got my hair done the other day and I got like a little coffee and a croissant before. Guess how much that was? £7. I guess it really depends where you live, but living in like Brighton, being used to Brighton, London prices, is wildly cheap out there. The meals that we had out there were insane. Like the boys were having steaks, we were having cocktails, all the things that normally in the UK you're like, that's just racking up the bill. I think it was like 50 quid for 4 of us. It was just like insane. And then as far as spending money, we started out with £500 each, which is, I initially took £500 worth, which is 22,500 Thai baht. All of our hotels and everything have been paid for online anyway, so this was purely just like spending money for food, any excursions we wanted to do. So we only stayed in 2 places that had breakfast included, so pretty much we were eating breakfast, lunch and dinner out, doing things all day. The boys were both doing Muay Thai fighting quite a lot over there, so we weren't really keeping the cost low, to be honest. We were kind of just doing whatever we wanted to do. So if you kind of just went there and you stayed somewhere like all inclusive, you could definitely keep the cost down a lot. It's kind of one of those places you can spend as much or as little as you want to. I think I took out a bit extra money purely just because I was buying everything at markets and like vintage shopping. If you purely ate at like the markets and you didn't really go to like restaurants as such, your prices would be like halved. The market food is so cheap and it's arguably the best food there. Talking of market food, another big question I had was about food. So the food is amazing. Best food I've ever had anywhere. Like I said, so cheap. It's all really fresh. I have quite a lot of problems with my stomach. I've always had issues with just like, I have never really got to the bottom of what it is. I know certain foods that trigger me, but generally when I'm traveling, I think just eating food from different places, just not eating what you normally eat, pretty much will always have a stomach cramp. Not once in 3 weeks, which is like unheard of. I didn't get a stomach ache once, and a lot of people say that because the food is so fresh, you just don't, your body just is fine with it, which I just couldn't believe. I heard people say it and I was like, yeah, okay, try me, literally try me. I see that's a challenge, like I will get a tummy ache. But yeah, food is incredible. A lot of people asked about vegetarian options. I'm actually not vegetarian anymore. I actually wasn't ever vegetarian, I was pescatarian, but I'm just not that anymore either. However, there is a lot of tofu. A lot of Thai food is made with tofu. Only thing I'd say is if you're really strict vegetarian or vegan, the restaurants are probably your best bet, because the markets, like even when I was ordering food, they kind of just sling it in with whatever's been in before. Like if there's bits of meat in there, they'll be in yours. Obviously the pans are all just the same thing. There's not really that, like they're street markets, there's not that level of like cross-contamination, things like that. If you have allergies or you're really strict vegan or vegetarian, maybe avoid things like that. So yeah, restaurants might be your best bet in that case. But yeah, the ice, a lot of questions about the ice. Again, I think this might just be like a bit of a TikTok thing. We had the ice the whole time, absolutely fine. Like most places, the water is a little bit dodge. Don't drink the water. We brushed our teeth with it, absolutely fine. My stomach is not the most robust of things. If anyone's gonna have a problem with it, we're absolutely fine. I think, as far as I'm aware, the ice is regulated now. I think it's the same as barley. You can't legally make ice with tap water now. Whether everywhere does that or not, I'm not sure, but we didn't have any issues with any drinks at all. We were having like cocktails, iced coffees, all of it was absolutely fine. Questions about what did I pack? This was my biggest packing feat yet. I get so stressed about packing. The thought of getting there and not having the right things, which I've realised, and I realise every time I do this, when you get there, you don't give a shit. Unless you're going to like fashion week, when you get anywhere, you really don't give a shit what you've got with you. I would say take less. Always take less. I could have taken half the amount that I took. We weren't like backpacking or anything. We all had cases, just like a small case. Even that, I could have taken half of what I took. linen things, really soft, like cotton shorts are your best friend. I think we all bought linen stuff out there because it's so cheap as well. I was looking at linen stuff beforehand, and the only places I could find really good stuff were like Australian brands. Obviously it was their summer at the time we were going anyway. So, but they're like 50 quid for like a linen dress. You go there, I bought a pair of white linen shorts. It worked out about £4. So even if you just took very simple stuff and buy a lot of your stuff out there, you could definitely do that. There's laundry services like everywhere. So I think we had our washing done twice, not everything, and yeah, I was like washing my pants as I go in the shower. It really awoke something in me. I felt very primal. All you'll really want to wear is very soft stuff. It didn't get cold at all. The only place that was a little bit chilly is Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai, the temperatures do drop in the evening. By drop, I'm talking like 20 degrees. But when you've been on an island for like 10 days, we were all a bit like, ooh, bit chilly. What I would do for 20 degrees right now. Also makeup. I took quite a lot of makeup because I thought I was going to be filming and stuff like that. I could not even put makeup on my face. It was just like melting off. It just doesn't feel nice having that on your skin. It's so hot there and so humid. My hair was just freaking out constantly. My eyebrows were frizzing, which is a new one. Actually, the islands, they're insanely humid. I think one day it was at like 84% humidity or something. And I was like, but, make sure you take some long stuff with you. A couple of long pairs of linen trousers. I think I just got mine from H&M and had one pair from Arket for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you go to the temples, you need to cover up. You need to cover your legs and shoulders. I had a couple of like big overshirts with me. They're really good. Big shirts, long trousers. Also, the mosquitoes are rife. We all got bitten to absolute shit on the islands. If you're going somewhere, say like the elephants, I probably should have worn long trousers because you're walking around like a tropical woodland sort of thing. So there's a lot of mozzies. Very simple things. I took loads of accessories because I don't mind wearing a really simple outfit as long as I've got like earrings and jewellery and stuff like that. I hope that clears it up a little bit. I know the packing is the hardest bit. That was like for months before. I was like, what do I even take? I was like putting things in, taking things out, I just couldn't even imagine what it would be like being there. But yeah, as little as possible. You're not really going to want to wear a lot. So a lot of people asked about vaccines, things that you need to have done before you go. So we all got Hep A and Hep B. I needed both of those for work anyway, so it was no brainer. Then we all got typhoid as well. That was the one that was kind of like the most recommended. Those are the three that I think you really should have. So you can book a travel appointment. We actually did ours at Boots in Brighton. I'm not sure if every single Boots does them, so just check that. But just ask you loads of questions about like where you're staying, what you're planning on doing. So for us, we weren't really doing anything crazy. It's not like we were going like mountain climbing and camping out somewhere and shit like that. We were always in a city. We were always very close to a hospital. God forbid if anything had happened, we were very close. So loads of other jabs that you can get, but they would advise you on what you kind of need for where you're going. So yeah, we just got those three. But again, yeah, definitely worth checking where you're going and what's recommended for what you're doing. I think maybe we'll do this as the last question. A lot of people asked, did I feel safe there? Would I have felt safe going solo? Did I feel safe there if my boyfriend wasn't around? 100%. Like, I've never been anywhere in the world that I felt safe. Even like the bigger places, like even in Bangkok, I felt really, really safe. The people just do not trouble you at all. And if we kept having this conversation out there, we were like, why is everybody so nice? Why is everybody so chill? But I think their entire culture is just built on respect, like, and you feel it everywhere that you go. The respect is so strong, and I just loved it. I felt so happy. I felt so safe being around people like that. Even in London, where I feel incredibly comfortable because I know where I am all the time, I feel far more uncomfortable on the tube than I did walking around Bangkok on my own. There was no like heckling, no men like kind of shouting anything at you. Like, the bar is in fucking hell, may I add. The fact that no men shouted at us, we were like, wow, my God, love it here. Everyone's so nice. Everyone just goes about their business. Everyone's chill. There's none of that going on. Of course, it's like anywhere. It's a big city. You've always got to be slightly careful. I wouldn't be like la 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 with headphones on and stuff like that. There's a few things like scams in the city with like tuk-tuks and taxis. Either ask for a fixed price or meter. There's loads of information about that on TikTok. I would just search like Bangkok scams and things like that. Just see. I think every city has their thing. Like, it's like the London motorbike stealing your phone thing. I think it's good to kind of know what people are up to in cities, like going to and from things. And if the boys were like off fighting and me and my sister were on our own, we felt completely comfortable the whole time. What I love the most about Thai people is they're so helpful. There's none of that thing of like, you're a tourist, we're not helping you. They are so helpful with everything. They're the kindest people. The vibes are just so high. Like, they all drive like maniacs and just no one's beeping at each other. Everyone's just like, oh, sorry, oh, my bad. I think that's all the questions that got asked the most. If there's anything I've missed out or anything that you want to know, just comment and I'll reply. I'm sure I will have missed something. There was a lot of things to try and cover. I hope that helps a little bit if you are looking at going to Thailand or looking at planning a trip there. It is the most incredible place in the world. I would recommend every single person to go there at some point in their life. You don't need to do as many stops as we did. I said if we went back, I'd probably do Bangkok, maybe one island, but it was the first time we went, so we were like, we want to do as much as possible. So yeah, it feels very good to be back filming videos again. Very excited for another year. Thank you for being here as always. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of the day wherever you are, and I hope you keep warm because it's fucking freezing. Snowing yet? No, not snowing yet. Love you.